this. But before I get started, man, how y'all doing? Love and gratitude. I appreciate the patience. I am definitely gonna cut out the first 15 minutes and everything, or up to for my video and doing a live today. I haven't did one in so long on YouTube. It's been actually since 2022 since I did a live on YouTube. But I want to kind of get back into the action of things. So be patient live. I am going to break down a few things that I've went over, what I found to the best of my abilities. If I can share my photos, if it's allowed, if I'm able to share that particular information, I will try to get to that. If not, I'll do it on another live because I don't want that to be drawn out. But what had happened to me over the years, starting back to 2018, was when I started having real bad shortness of breath, chest pain on the left side. I don't know if it was just a muscle spasm in the lung. This was before I even knew what was going on, but I was working in the shop when these things started to happen, and I would pretty much lose breath when it would happen. It always happened when we were laughing in the shop. Um, I'll lose breath. I'll walk to the back, hold my breath for about a good minute, get some good oxygen, and everything came back. And it started to happen quite often. I went to the doctor. The doctor they put me on the machines, checked me out, did an EKG, all of this stuff. Everything kept coming back like nothing happened. Everything felt, everything was coming back normal. So they weren't finding anything. They did their x-ray scans or whatever and just wasn't finding anything. So fast forward to 2020. By that time, I moved to a different shop. I thought I was better when I moved to the shop, but I noticed that I started feeling the microwave whenever it was turned on. And I was like, man, I've never felt that before. So I moved away from it. It still ain't dawned me. This was in 2019. By 2020, that's when all hell broke loose. It got to the point where when we got on lockdown, there was a series of events that happened before the lockdown. I was already becoming more aware of what was going on. I was listening to Louis Farrakhan. I was listening to RZA. I was listening to a lot of other people that many would call conspiracy theorists. In listening to many things that Trump was saying, many things that are into what's going on right now. But at that time, I still didn't understand fully what was going on. Needed to change, and that's when I actually was starting to venture into leaving wrong red meat. I was just eating chicken, fish. I would have some Italian beefs. I was still drinking alcohol here and there. 2019, I kind of cut drinking on the weekends alone. And 2020 is when I just kind of started paying attention. I started getting more and more downloads and messages from the creator. The person I was sleeping with at the time, the message came from her, this is going to be our last time sleeping around. And I was like, what? It was just a bunch of messages that came. They didn't just come from her. One of my homeboys, when I was posting things that was going on, he was like, maybe it's another one of my homeboys reached out and gave me a message like, yo, you need to remove all these electronics from your room, because I was having headaches. I was having not headache issues. I was having the tightness in the chest was coming back. The thyroids was swelling up when I was driving on the 290. This is when the things started happening around April. I want to say April the 12th, somewhere around April the 12th, 10th. Right when I went in to do a client around that time, I did a couple of clients. We had our windows covered up and everything. This was when the shutdown happened. And I had a mask on for about 2.5 hours. I'd never done that before. It wasn't the mask. It was underlying conditions that I did not know was there that was being triggered by air pollution and technology, and the fact that my body was now on the decline and was attacking itself. Plus, it was calling on a lot of the parasites that my body is dealing with even now today. So this was 2020. And at that time, I still didn't know that air pollution was even a thing. I didn't know that was a part of the problem that we're having today. Um, I definitely started to focus on the EMF, which is the electromagnetic fields. I started focusing on taking these things out of my room when one of my homeboys, whose his name is Eugene, we called him Titty Boy over this way. He called me one day when I posted my symptoms online. The symptoms I posted is I could not get any sleep because I'm not breathing in my sleep. Now, the doctors call that sleep apnea. I don't know what sleep apnea is. I've never heard of it before. I just know I was waking up in a cold sweat and I was trying to catch my breath. And I'm like, yo, I'm not breathing. I started staying up long hours of the night. I'm walking types of times of the night. I'm driving all types of times of the night, trying to figure out why wasn't I breathing in my sleep. And the first thing I kept telling myself is don't panic, don't fear. You're here for a purpose. I've known I've been here for a purpose since my younger days, pre-teens. You know, God was telling me when I was in church, all that stuff that they're talking about, the rapture, all that bull crap they talked about, none of that stuff. There is no Jesus coming back down. This is the messages I was getting. But the message was saying you're going to live through this chaos because what happened in the past is going to happen in your future. That message never left my mind ever, because what's happening in the past with the Spanish flu that happened in the past, with the change in the currency, with all the pandemics that have happened in the past, is happening right now today. War, then pandemic, currency change. This is happening right now as we speak. These are the things that we have to start paying attention to. I don't want to pull you into the currency side of it because we have to talk about the health side of it first, because we're being attacked on levels that we do not understand. And I'm not fully understanding all of it just yet, but I am kind of getting the logistics down to understand air pollution, what's in the air pollution that's affecting us, and how we need to complain to our government within our states to stop the weather modification programs, the geoengineering, the climate change scam. When Donald Trump is talking to you, and I'm not a supporter of Donald Trump. I am not a supporter of Donald Trump. I am not a supporter of Donald Trump. I love his business ethics. I love he get the business. I love the way he talks on real terms that we can hear and believe. He cut out all the BS talk and he gets straight to the point. I love that about him. But I listen to certain things that he say, that climate change is a scam. He keeps saying that. He kept saying, this is fake news. The weather that they bring us is fake news. They're giving us weather conditions that they're creating. Just like today in Chicago, I got nothing but video footage of them creating this big old giant cloud over Chicago right now. And then they talk about it's going to lightly rain. They just cause it to rain. Because if they had not created any of the clouds that are in Chicago right now, they would not have even posted a message of it raining. The thing is the additives that they use in the making of these particular clouds has bacteria in these additives. They have also other things in the additives as well as heavy metals in it and other chemicals that is detrimental to our health. It is suffocating the oxygen out of our cells, along with 5G. Okay. Let me I didn't even get Instagram on here, but let me go ahead and plug them in on the live. 1 second. I don't want to do it live. Let me get the Instagram in. Let me plug them in. So that's just a briefing about what's happening in our atmosphere. I hope you guys can see the screen good. I don't know if you're on your mobile. Let's see, which one do I like to? First, we're going to go and break down thing we're going to do. I'm going to go to my Facebook page. No. Wrong one. Go back here. I have to go to my. Oh my God. Sorry about that. I don't know why it just had me to do that. That was wild. All right, back to Facebook. Now my connection is unstable. What is it doing here? Can you guys hear me? Damn. After chest pain doing here. Can you guys hear me? Damn. All right. I see. It's there. All right. So let's to it. I don't know why it did that, man. Is it giving me old videos? Okay. Because what I want to do is break down the nitrogen dioxide. One moment here. All right. I'll use this. All right. All right. So this is what I actually want to break down here. Good. Is there still a connection issue? How we looking now? All right. You guys ready? All right. So what I want to break down the PM 2.5, the PM 10, and Let me see 1 second here. All right. And the we don't even have to worry about CO because that's not really a concern. Um we don't even have to worry about CO because that's not really a concern. All right. What is PM10? Okay, so PM diameter. It's a type of air pollution that's made of a complex mixture of solid particles and liquid droplets. All right. They're gonna give you a real bullshit of what it is, right? Dust from construction sites, wood burning, vehicle exhaust. That's this is how they start to play with you. This is when they start be lying. Acids from various sources. What various sources is it from? Like you're just excluding a lot of information that is missing from here. This is when I started paying attention to words and what they're saying and not just overlooking and be like, oh, okay, it comes from this, but then we'll overlook this. I'm getting a buffering, unstable connection. Come on, bro. Sorry about that. It's I see it's going up and down again. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do it. Can you guys see everything? I see it keep buffering a little bit. All right. So again. All right. So again. So this is when I noticed these words right here. We have to make sure we're reading through everything, right? I see it is buffering. And these are how does the impact of PM10 it impacts us, right? It's small enough to enter the lungs through the nose and the throat. High levels of PM10 can cause health issues like coughing, runny nose, stinging eyes, chest tightness, and difficulty breathing. Now, PM 2.5 is pretty much similar, and PM1 is actually the bacteria. It's all of it includes bacteria, to be honest with you, and the other chemicals. So PM 2.5 particulate matter is a type of air pollution that consists of extremely small particles. 2.5. All right, we're going to get down to the basics here. It's a mixture of dust, soot, metals, and organic chemicals. Organic chemicals. Okay. All right. These words right here, pay attention to organic chemicals, soot, metals, right? It comes from many sources. This right here, many sources. So then it gives you including a bullshit including cars, trucks, factories, wood burning, and forest fires. They're not labeling, as you can see, they're not talking about all the planes that just put these clouds in their air, just made these clouds, but it doesn't talk about any planes. They definitely listed just cars, trucks, factories. We're not seeing air traffic here. Okay. It's more common in urban areas, but bullshit, whatever. So it can cause short term and long term health problems. It can damage lung tissue, worsen asthma, increase heart attack, lung cancer, and other health conditions. We want to know what's the other health conditions. These are the things that are left out when you start reading deeper into this particular information. Now, we want to go to NO2. NO2 air pollution. Let's go to NO2 air pollution just to be fair, right? So, nitrogen dioxide is a highly reactive gas that pollutes the air and can cause health problems. It's a product of burning fuels in vehicles. That right there by itself is bullshit. Okay. Yes, it is a product in burning fuel in vehicles. I give that. By the time it comes out of that tailpipe, though, it's went through the process and it is now carbon dioxide. Okay. We're not getting, it's not. That's, we're just not getting, anytime that I see it pause on my end, my YouTube. So I'm gonna anytime I see it pause, I'm gonna pause so you're not gonna miss anything in the conversation. So just stick with me. Um, it's a highly reactive power plants, off-road equipment. Off-road equipment, let's just say airplanes in there too. Okay. Um, but one thing we need to understand is nitrogen oxide is 71% in the so the stratosphere, which is about I think it's about 10 miles up, 10 miles high. It's 71% nitrogen oxide. All right. All right. So let's go through this here. The respiratory irritation that this thing can do, it can irritate the respiratory system, causing coughing, wheezing, difficulty breathing. It can aggravate your asthma. It can, long-term exposure can cause chronic lung disease. It can reduces the body ability to fight respiratory infections. All right, so it can reduce your immune response. That goes into a deeper part of science and what it's doing to the blood cells, which we probably talk about on another section, on another part. Other health effects, it can affect the senses and reduce visibility. So it can affect your eyesight. It can cause you to do a lot of sneezing and things of that. The formation of secondary pollutants, NO2, reacts with other chemicals in the air and form other pollutants such as ozone, particulate matter, and acid rain. Damage to vegetation. NO2 can damage foliage, reduce growth, and reduce crop yields. This is NO2. So this is when nitric oxide starts mixing with oxygen and other aerosols in the air. It starts to damage. Um, it starts to do damage on plant life, soil, water, humans, everything. Because when it starts to mix with moisture in the air, or when it starts to mix with water, which we are 78% water, once it hits us, it becomes an acid. It turns into nitric acid. It burns. This is why people are having a long time of getting better because of the nitrogen dioxide that's dominating in our air right now. Okay. This is what the EPA has to say. The EPA says nitrogen dioxide is one of the group of highly reactive gases. We got that. It Other nitrogen oxide include nitrous acid and nitric acid. So nitrous is a part of making it cold. That's N2O. This is how they did the frigid Arctic blast. That's where this Arctic blast and cold has been coming from, because when that was happening, the NO2 is extremely high. Now, I'm saying to myself, when I check the air quality map in Alaska, which is I'm not going to say always below zero, but it was 8 degrees out there, negative 8 degrees, and their nitrogen dioxide levels was zero. It was zero. And I'm like, okay, well, why is it when we get an Arctic blast, our nitrogen dioxide shoots up high and it stays high during the Arctic blast, but out there, they're getting, I don't know if it's an Arctic cold, but they're getting negative degree weather, and they're not having the same situations that we're having here. So, nitrate particles result from NOx, make the air hazy and difficult to see through. These are the hazy days. If you've seen my videos that I talked about, I'm like, yo, it's not clear, it's hazy. Now we're looking at nitrate particles. This affects many national parks that we visit. I'll take a look at that, something that's a little extra later. All right, so we see that from here. We are going to go to ozone air pollution. This type of air pollution can harm in volatile organic compounds react in sunlight and hot, including, this is what's missing out of here. This is why this AI, do not let me explain this to you. Do not just go by, I see I'm buffering. And they're saying organic compounds react with sunlight. Now, what they're not saying is the cell towers, the satellites, the radars, and these big antenna systems that are emitting frequencies, also disrupting. Okay, so cars, power plants, industrial boilers, refiners, chemical plants, paints, cleaners, solvents, motorized lawn equipment, whatever, bunch of bullshit, right? They're still not talking about how the airplanes make the ozone as well, and with them flying, and they also airplanes on the airplanes. All right, I see that it was buffering a little bit, but I didn't get the buffering notice on the screen because I'm kind of watching a little bit of that too, so you guys could see it, and I didn't get it, but I see it buffered on my phone. All right, so back to it. We're gonna get back to it. In the sources of air pollution, they keep skipping that. They keep saying cars. It's not the cars. It's not just the trucks. It's not just no, 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 no. All right. So the effects of ozone pollution: eye, nose, throat irritation. Notice these are the same symptoms when people, chest pains, coughing, worsening asthma symptoms, damaged respiratory tract issues. So I'm gonna, all right, we back. Okay, so damaged respiratory tract tissues, inflammation and irritation. When you damage the respiratory tract tissues, this is why it's taken so many people so long to get back. Body need oxygen in the proper minerals to repair itself, and that takes time. There is no meds or there is no over-the-counter meds that's going to really help the situation. The only thing that I would suggest that people do is get into the natural herbs to get some mullein leaf to clear out the inflammation, because the healing, and get some plantain leaf to kind of speed up the healing, because that's and get you some iron. You're gonna need iron, and you're not gonna need the over-counter iron. I would suggest, if it was me, I'm going to the natural health store. We have a few of them here in Chicago. The favorite one I go to is Alkaline Healing Herbs, but we have many herbalists out here in Chicago as well. Get you some iron. It has to be prepared properly, because you can't just do straight iron without having some selenium to kind of break into that. So you need to seek your herbalist to help you with that, and you need oxygen in your system. So doing deep breath, deep breathing, these things help. Okay, so we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of this, because this is just the overview of what they're saying. So what I started to do is I got to think, okay, where did ozone come from? Who created this word? So I go back to, this is how I do my research. First, I sit there and think, and I'm like, where did this word come from? Who created the word ozone? So we have to go back into history. This is a German chemist. Now, a lot of Germans are known for creating a lot of bioweapons and doing a lot of things for the United States. This is what we have to understand and keep in mind. All right. It comes from the Greek word ozon, means to smell. All right. It was coined back in 1840. These are the things we have to understand. We have to go back to what happened in the past, because it's happening in the future right now as we speak. All right. So, Shobian discovered ozone during a laboratory experiments in the mid 1800s. He noticed the distinctive smell during his experiment, even though other scientists had tried to identify it earlier. Shobian is known as the father of ozone therapy. He was also the first to study how ozone reacts with organic matter. Ozone gas is made up of 3 oxygen atoms. It is found in the atmosphere, where it protects life from ultraviolet rays. That is the organic ozone. That is what the sun creates every single day. I don't care if you don't see the sun that day, if it's cloudy, the sun is always creating ozone. This is how the creator created Earth. The nitric oxide that is up there is a benefit for our survival in life. It creates a shield as well. There's tons of gases up there that creates a shield for us, right? So what's happening is these scientists are using the planes to run their jets through there. It turns into water molecules. There's other chemicals in there that they use as well, and other additives that cause it to freeze up and turn into ice that makes the clouds. But again, what goes up is going to come down. This is how we got to look at the situation. There is gravity. These clouds do break apart, they do disperse, and they do fall down upon civilization. Okay. So let's go into the history just a little bit more, so we can just understand what was it that this guy did. Do I want to read it from here? Hold up 1 second. Let me see if I can find a better one. Here, we'll just go to Wikipedia because I don't want to go through Wikipedia. Just Wikipedia brings you. I like Wikipedia because it brings you. You can just click on things and it'll start opening more doors for you to understand what's going on. So now we're about to see the inorganic ozone, right? Ozone. Let me blow that up for you so you guys can see it. All right, I hope you guys can see it. Okay, so let's get to it. Ozone is an inorganic molecule, chemical formula O3. It is a pale blue gas with distinctively pungent smell. It is an allotrope of oxygen that has much less stable than the diatomatic uh, allotrope O2, breaking down the lower atmosphere of O2, which is oxygen, dioxygen, if they want to call it that. Ozone is formed from dioxygen by action of ultraviolet light and electrical discharges. Keep that word in mind, electrical discharges, because we want to know what's electrical discharges. Within the Earth's atmosphere, it is present in very low concentrations throughout the atmosphere. Its highest concentration high in the ozone layer of the stratosphere, which absorbs most of the sun ultraviolet radiation. So let's take a look at the stratosphere real quick. Let me see if they got a good. Okay, let's just take a look at this real quick. Oh, motherfucker. All right. So that's your the troposphere. This is when the planes are taking off. I think this is about up to about 7 miles high. And anything that's over 7 miles high and up to about maybe 12 or 14 miles is your stratosphere. And then you have the mesosphere, and then you have the thermosphere. It shows you here commercial airliners typically cruises at about 9 to 12 kilometers, which is about 30,000 to 39,000 feet, which is in the lower reaches of the stratosphere. Okay. Here's another good example. Here we go, right here. So the airliners are typically within this part right here. This is where they're at. They're typically right in here. This is your ozone layer here. And I don't think they can actually really go above this particular layer. I'm not for sure. Don't quote me wrong on that. Um, but they're typically somewhere around in this lower part here. Okay. All right. I've never read this before, but I'm gonna have to go through that. Okay, so HO is formed by the reaction of the electrically excited oxygen atoms produced by ozone photolysis with water vapor. All right, well, ozone. All right, consumer applications related to the oxidation. The same high oxidant potential, however, causes in respiratory tissues in animals, also tissues in plants. The concentration above zero point 0.1 ppm, that is parts per million, and then they have parts per billion. We're not going to get into that right now. Here's what happened with this particular language here. We did not set the parts per million, but there's tests that has been done with this that is very low in the parts per billion. That's still giving us effect. But when you go on some of these air quality sites, they will say that the ozone is good. And then they'll say that the nitrogen dioxide is good when it's really not. Okay. All right. So let's get to the history of this. All right. So often following a bolt of lightning. So this is when they started to recognize isolating the gas chemical and named it ozone from the Greek word ozen, meaning to smell. For this reason, Chauvian is generally credited with the discovery of ozone. He also noted the similarity of ozone smell to the smell of phosphorus. And in 1844, proved that the product of reaction of white phosphorus with air is identical. A subsequent effort to call ozone electrified, he ridiculed by proposing to call ozone from white for phosphorized oxygen. The formula for ozone was not determined until 1865 by Jacques Louis Soret and confirmed by Chauvian in 1967. Okay, much of the second half century of health seekers and natural health seekers, blah, 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 zone of the ozone, evidence, and there's a quite different atmosphere at higher elevation with enough Hawaii. Okay, I haven't read none of this. I'm trying to find the article where it says they use it causes irritation. So they knew this back in the early 1900s of the health effects of ozone. In 1911, they document. Okay, hold on, no, hold on, right here, right here. Much of the ozone appeal seemed to have resulted from its fresh smell, which evoked association with purifying properties. Scientists noticed its harmful effects. In 1873, James Dewar and John Gray McKendrick documented that frogs grew sluggish, birds gasped for air, and rabbits' blood showed decreased levels of oxygen after exposed to to ozonized air, which exercised a destructive action of the mucous membranes, and difficulty breathing occurred as a result of inhaling ozone. Small mammals died. Just showing you, I'm gearing you up to show you how long these people know this in the games that's being played on us right now, right? During World War I, ozone was tested at Queen Alexandra Military Hospital in London as a possible disinfectant for wounds. The gas was applied directly to wounds as for as long as 15 minutes. This resulted in damage to both bacterial cells and human tissue. Other sanitizing techniques, such as irrigation with antiseptics, were found preferable. So they tried to use it for healing. Like they were trying things. They were definitely trying things, and these people were messing themselves up trying things. So we're looking at Schwab, Gregory Maria. Let me just kind of scan through this real quick. No, 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 no. We're missing the part to electric. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go back here. In 1785, Dutch chemist Martinus van Mierum was conducting experiments above water. This is what I found. This is what made me understand that ozone can come from your cell towers, your satellites, your radar systems, your smart street lights. These all can cause electrical sparking that we do not see, but it's a different type of sparking. It's a microwave frequency. It's sending microwave frequencies very fast. That can also create nitric oxide, which can also create a byproduct of ozone and nitrogen dioxide. Okay, which he was attributed to reactions, failing to realize he had in fact created ozone. So this ozone that they're talking about is created. This is not the ozone that is in the stratosphere. This ozone on the lower level, our sensors are picking up, is created. This is not the God ozone that is supposed to stay in the stratosphere. Those are not the same. Okay. This is where they try to confuse us. This is when I start putting two and two together. Now let's go see what is an electrical discharge. So electrical discharge is the flow of electricity charge from one body to another. It can occur between solid liquids and gases. Electrical discharge, blah blah blah. It's called ionization, fluorescent lamps, lightning, electrical discharge. Let's go and see electrical discharge on Wikipedia. All right. Electromagnetism is the release or transmission of electricity and applied electric field through such a medium as gas. All right, so we're dealing with gases when we're out there now. Understand that. The property effects of electrical discharges are useful over a wide range of magnitudes. Tiny pulses of current are used to detect ionizing radiation in a Gregor Mueller tube. Uh, Low steady current can illustrate the gas spectrum in the gas field tube, neon light, blah, 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 electrical discharge lamp, blah, 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 generates. All right. So corona discharges are used in photocopiers. Well, what is a corona discharge? Examples of electrical discharges. Electrostatic discharge, electric barrier discharges. These are your partial discharge. We're gonna go to corona discharge because the corona virus was used. They said there's a corona that comes from the sun when it releases a fireball or a discharge. They call that a corona. They say that's the same thing that happens in our cells. So what is causing the electrical charge in our body that's causing our cells to make this corona? The corona is separated from the virus. We have to separate those two. Is we have to learn what's the corona, what's affecting our body, what's making us that our cells create this corona. So corona is an electrical discharge caused by ionization of a fluid such as air surrounding a conductor or a high voltage, like your high voltage power lines, uh, those big power conductors that we see When you see like an electrical field where your electricity is supplied to the houses, corona discharges can happen in those areas. Those are high voltage. But then there's other corona discharges that happen as well. So we're going to get to that also, right? In many high voltage applications, corona is an unwanted side effect. All right, we're going to say that again. Corona is an unwanted side effect. Corona discharge from high voltage power transmission lines constitute an economically significant waste of energy for utilities. And high voltage equipment like cathode ray tube televisions, we had those in our crib. This was the first attack against our bodies. Radio transmitters, we had those in our crib. Those are your radios, right? Your X-ray machines and your particle accelerators. The current leakage caused by coronas can constitute as unwanted load on the circuit. In the air, corona generate gases such as ozone and nitric oxide. In turn, nitrogen dioxide and thus nitric acid if water vapor is present. These gases are corrosive and can degrade and embrittle nearby materials like rust your car, put holes in your car, mess up your lungs, destroy your soil, destroy your crops. It's also toxic to humans in the environment. They're telling you exactly what's happening. They're telling you exactly what's going on. We are just not paying attention. We are just not seeing what's going on because no one has ever brought it to us on this particular type of level. Because now when I go through this, I'll be able to pull up the air quality map and show you in real time that this is happening right now as we speak across the globe. Okay. So let's go to radio transmitters because we must learn what's a radio transmitter. We're not really dealing with cathode tubes TVs anymore. We're not dealing with those TVs anymore. We have smart TVs. So what are radio transmitters? In electronics and telecommunications, radio transmitters or just transmitters is an electric device which produces radio waves with an antenna with the purpose of signaling transmission of up to a radio receiver. A transmitter itself generates radio frequency, alternating current, and applied to the antenna, necessary components for all electrical devices that communicate by radio, such as radio audio, television broadcasting stations, cell phones, your walkie-talkies, wireless computer networks, Bluetooth enabled devices, your AirPods, all Bluetooth ear devices, constantly communicating. Your phone is always going back to cell towers. It's always communicating. It's two ways. Garage door openers, two-way radios and aircrafts. The aircrafts is full of radiation. And the reason why is also traveling at a very high speed, which is also creating high radiation going at that particular speed. And because of the mechanic and logistics within the airplane, this is why nobody should have their phone on or use the Wi-Fi in those planes. The Wi-Fi should have never been cut on in the planes. There's a reason why they start cutting it on in 2019. It is because it is going to diminish the health of your cells when traveling on a plane. It should have never, ever been turned on. Okay? All these things. The term transmitters or radio locations such as radar and navigational transmitters, blah, blah, blah. Radio generators generators of radio waves for heating or industrial purposes, such as microwave ovens. So when you're starting a microwave oven, it produces radio waves. And if you're standing next to a microwave oven, it is frying your cells at the same time. It is frying the cells in your food, making your food basically obsolete, flipping the cells, turning the cells backwards, killing it. There's no nutrition in the food. And this is why you must get away from using microwave ovens. Microwave, and from what one lady had said, her name is Devara Davis. She stated that how the microwaves was first named radar generators or something like that, and how they found out about the microwaves is people in the army would stand by the radars, because when it was cold outside, the radars was heating them up and it was melting the chocolate in their pocket. This is how they did not know what the radars was doing to them. So this is a lot of stuff they was finding out. This was, I think, was during World War One, was when they found this out, because that's when the radars became, they started using the radars for communication back during World War One. So then the name that they used for it was very unpopular, so they called it microwave ovens. But microwave is pretty much a weapon, because they were using this on their to microwave their enemies. They used it to microwave Catholics back in the days when they were protesting. They used it on Black Lives Matters when they were protesting. They had Black Lives Matters to meet them in front of a cell tower every time Black Lives Matters was meeting up. I got the footage on this shit. I got the footage. Every time Black Lives Matters was meeting up, they would meet up in front of a cell tower. Okay. So they were also microwaving protesters of today. They were microwaving. This is why the crowds of the protesters diminish, because they can also mess with your central nervous system and mess with your neurotransmitters to the point where it'll affect you that you don't want to deal with it no more. You start having mixed feelings. It messes with your emotions. Next thing you know, they call it anxiety. This other guy talks about how it caused the anxiety thing back in the day, but they called it something else. Okay, let me get back to this. All right. So the radio transmitters will also include, as you see signal transmission here, it will include your cell towers. These things are sending microwave speeds, even though they don't have it on here, but it's here. Okay. Now we're going to get to the air quality. Let's go to the air quality. I'm going to go to Plume Labs. You can also download that air quality app on your phone. I use 4 different air quality apps because airnow.gov, and we're going to go to airnow.gov too, because I'm going to show you how they falsify and they don't tell you the truth about what's going on. Let's go to airnow.gov. Where did my water go? This shit. Oh, come on now. It can't be reached. What you mean it can't be reached? I want the air quality. No, let me just go back. Let me just go straight to the air quality index. Nigga, you just not gonna give me the air quality index? Where is it at? Current forecast air quality. My bad. Sorry, this is it. I do not want you in my system. Damn, I should have blocked it. That's okay. I am not the one to click allow on everything. I'm just not that type of person. You never see me do that shit. All right, so to save their own asses, this is what I call it. It's not good. And as you can see, there's only one. Okay, so look. All right, so let's go. They have ozone here, and they just have PM 2.5. They're not. It's so basic. It's so basic. Let me see if I can get more out of here. What? Oh my god. Oh my god. So it'll just show you this. Hold up. What is this? Forecast courtesy of the EPA. Come on, bro. I don't want to see this. We move EPA. I don't. You know what? No. Let me get rid of this window. All right. Let's get back to here. It says it's good. Oh my god. It's not good. 43 is not good. I've learned that even when it says in the 20s, because I used to think the 20s was good until I realized that ozone is radiation. And I was like, and they don't usually calculate ozone in the air quality number. So when I see that and I see the 20s, I'm like, I go look at the ozone, I'm like, it's not good. But look at this shit. Let me see what's near me. What the fuck? Excuse my language. I'm trying not to curse, and I've actually been. 1 second. All right. It doesn't really give you it. This is very basic, right? It doesn't give you what you need to see. Okay, just give you color code. It'll give you the numbers on. In 2020 is 5.2 million. No data. There's no data for ozone. I think there's no data for PM10 in the Chicagoland area. So we're basically cut off on the monitors for that one. Let's see if there's monitors on this other one here on contours. Nothing. No ozone. This is PM 2.5. This is the information that we need to stand up and complain about. We can start with the community meetings, and then we can just take it from there. This has to be escalated up on certain levels, but we must move quickly. Because frankly, I don't know where the planes come from. I'm not sure if there are certain planes or if there's drones, other things that do it. Um, um, those parts I don't know if it's the commercial planes that are being used to do it, to make the clouds that they made today. These the answers that I do not have. All I know is when they make these particular what they call contrails, those clouds are full of shit. Airplane shit is what I call it. They're leaving shit streaks in the sky, is what I call it. So let's go to contrails real quick so you can get an idea. You might hear people talk about contrails and say, oh, it's just water vapors and blah, 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 blah. right? Or vapor trails, right? This is what they'll say, right? They'll call it, and they'll form ice crystals. But we like to go to the EPA because the EPA will tell you what it is. And if you actually go into Europe and learn what Europe says what it is, Europe will tell you what it is. Okay. But we're going to go right here because so when you look up in the sky, you are seeing it's buffering a little bit. Okay. Well, that buffer happened a long time ago. You're going to see this here, right? All right. So white streaks you see coming off of high flying jet airplanes are called contrails, which is short for condensation trails. You have to understand condensation is a whole nother word within itself. This is basically the condensing of particles or aerosols in the air, making it a condensation. Okay. Contrails are clouds that are formed when water vapor condenses and freezes around small particles, aerosols, in aircraft exhaust. The, the water vapor comes from the air around the plane in exhaust of the aircraft. These contrails can become human-made cirrus clouds. All right? Contrails disappear. There are three types of contrails: short-lived, spreading, and persistent spreading. So today we just witnessed persistent spreading and short-lived. I've seen them both, right? We got to go and see what the EPA says about contrails. One second. Why they won't give me the EPA? That's so weird. They're taking me through all these sites, and the EPA should have been the first one. That's okay. We'll just go here. We'll just do it here. We're going to go to the contrail fact sheet. All right, so because we're going to pull out certain things in here. A combination of water vapor in aircraft engine exhaust and the low ambient temperatures that often exist with these high altitudes allow the formation of contrails. Contrails are composed primarily of water in the form of ice crystals and do not pose a health risk to humans. They do affect the cloudiness of the Earth's atmosphere, however, therefore might affect the atmospheric temperature and climate. The, the basic process of contrail formation described in this fact sheet both apply to civil and military craft. So that's the first lie, that they do not pose a health risk to human. That's the first lie. And the second lie is they're primarily of water. That's also a lie. Okay. Because first thing that people must know is that aircraft exhaust, it does not burn all of the jet fuel. So there is a little fuel that is coming out of the exhaust. And from what I read, if I believe that is intentional, for some reason, I forgot what it was when I was doing the research on it. All right. Carbon dioxide, small amounts of nitrogen oxide, carbon monoxide, sulfur gases, soot. All right, here. This is why I say it's a lie. Okay. Aircraft engines emit water vapor because of the heat carbon dioxide, small amounts of nitrogen oxides. That's and this will be due to the fact that also that they are in high altitude over 3,000, 30,000 feet in the nitrogen field, where it's 71% nitrogen in that area. Hydrocarbons, carbon monoxide, sulfur gases. Sulfur gases is also toxic on all levels. Nitrogen oxide can be beneficial to us in small amounts for the cell. It provides energy to the cell as well. But once it starts mixing in with all this other stuff, it's toxic. It becomes nitrogen dioxide. In soot, see, they start hiding things. What's in soot? What is soot? Metal particles. What metal particles? Formed by high temperature combustion of jet fuel during the flights. So if you're having thousands of flights over your area, you're getting metal particles, you're getting soot, you're getting sulfur gases, you're getting nitric oxides and things of that nature in other additives. So we're going to say that there's additives in suits. We don't know what that is. This is when they start dropping words on us that we don't understand. And that's when you start finding out that they're not telling you the truth about the harm of the contrails. Now, again, I'm not against flying. I'm totally not against flying. I would jump on a plane in a minute. I am not one of those. We need to clean air, stop the aircraft, find better solutions. I'm not that type of person. I'm going to jump my ass in the aircraft. Okay. Understand that. What I'm saying and why I complain about this is because why do they have to lie about the effects of what they're doing in our atmosphere and how these things is affecting us on a major level and how we can regulate this more to be less toxic in a sense? So give me one moment here. I'm just going to scan through this real quick. Just to scan through it because I didn't want to read through all the extra stuff. We see because they say they might freeze to form ice particles. That it's the particle. Don't worry about the ice. What's the particles that compose a contrail? Enough particles are present in the surrounding atmosphere. However, that particles from the engine are not required for contrail formation. There are no lead to or ethylene dibromide additives in jet fuels. Additives currently used in jet fuels are all organic compounds that may also contain small fractions of sulfur or nitrogen. And they say small fractions, right? Fractions because to fill up a plane, we're talking like we're talking like tons of we're talking like in tons of gallons for airplanes. So it's not a small fraction. So they put that word in there to throw you off because that's not a small fraction. I'm sorry. And what we see in the air is not a small fraction when they make these big, huge clouds. That's not a small fraction. Okay. It's the additives. The additives are the bacteria. I found that for the fuel. Okay. But we're going to go to Plume Labs and let's look at the maps. So look at the world map. All right. We are here. Let me just pull up the guidelines. World Health Organization guidelines for air pollution. I could have just pulled it up on Plume Labs. Ooh, Oh, oh, all right. I needed that. I needed this right here. This is really good. This is really good. All right. So the annual average. Now this is an annual, not a daily. I should go get the daily. 24 average for the PM 2.5 should not exceed 15 UG M3. I forget the name of that again, but in O2, the annual average concentration, which we're not getting a daily, should not exceed 10, and I believe the daily is 25, which is too high because I can feel the effects of it at about anywhere from 15 and 25. I can feel the effects, especially if it's on a consistent basis over. Let's just say if it's 8 hours sitting over 15, in between 15 and 25, you're gonna feel it. Okay. Ozone peak season mean the peak season mean 8 hour ozone concentration shouldn't exceed 60. This is an 8 hour. So let's just say if the ozone is at 20 or 30 for 24 hours. And then let's just say if it's on a daily basis, it's compounded. You know what I'm saying? So we're talking about in a single day, it shouldn't exceed 60. But what about when it's compounding? So now we know the limits, and now we're here. And as you can see, ozone is already over nitrogen is already over its limit. Ozone is at 39. That's high. Now, remember, I told you ozone can also come from corona discharges. So, right now, the street lights are smart lights. They're picking up the location from your phone. So, as you're driving, it's constantly sending communication, sending pulses from your phone. Then you have the LED lights, which is affecting your eyes, right? So now you're getting this constant frequency that's hitting your phone in your car, right? Now it's creating an ozone within your car. It's hitting your eyes, and then the heat, you're getting the thermal heat. Now you're getting burning and pain behind the eyes. What I started doing is I started putting on my goggles. That pain behind my eyes stopped immediately when that happens. I also started shutting my phone off and putting it on airplane mode. That helped tremendously. Okay. So we're seeing nitrogen dioxide. It has been consistently, and I'm telling you, it has been consistently in the high 20s to high 50. And I mean going on 3 weeks now, consistently. This is in the Chicagoland area. On your phone, you can get a forecast on your phone. You can click, let me see, what are we, let me see, how do we do this? I'm trying to figure out what is this. Okay, so on your phone, oh, here we go. Yeah, it's sending the numbers up so you can see. So Tuesday, tomorrow, 8 a.m., we're getting a spike. And what we're getting a spike in, look, NO2. So expect like probably a slight freeze cold in the morning when you wake up. And you should be masked up because look, NO2 in ozone, PM 2.5 is high, PM 10, in my opinion, Both of these should be under 5 on the daily basis. Because if they're consistently at this number on the daily basis, it's going, this is nothing but bacteria. They're not even showing you what PM1 is. PM1, they don't even put that up there. That's even smaller particles. But this is PM10. It shows different on another site called Weather Live. And we're gonna go there. This breezometer, when I tell you breezometer had everything, but they intentionally shut down breezometer December the 22nd, 2024, before this Arctic blast started really taking off. Because I got the pictures of nitrogen dioxide skyrocketing when that happened. So let me just go to Weather Live. We're gonna see if I can pull up Weather Live. That's Weather Bug. I don't want Weather Bug. I want Weather Live. IQ Air, blah. It's all right. IQ Weather. Where does Weather Live get their information from? Weather Live is on my on my phone. Oh shit, my bad. Damn. I don't know there we go. Weather Live forecast. Here we go. I don't know that system the pocket. Okay, it's only here because it's only an app for this one. No, I'm not getting it. All right. So Weather Live is another app that I use. I'm not going to go to the other ones. Actually, we can go to the Weather Channel because I do go to the Weather Channel, and I'm going to show you how the Weather Channel can also be BS to you. This is why I kind of switch around. So in the Weather Channel, you're not really going to find like the air quality like just on this. What I like to do is I like to see like where the clouds are coming in, what time, because then I can go outside and look and see when it's being made or where the clouds are moving in from, because there's ground cloud machines that also produces this. Okay, so now the Weather Channel is showing us a different ozone. This is why I go on different sites to take a look at this stuff. Now, I can tell you right now that the particulate PM10 and the PM2.5 is way higher than that. It's higher than that. So I know they're lying on this one. But here, as we can see, ozone is at its annual 60. How is it still good? We've seen the WHO guidelines. It says what? Peak season 8-hour zone concentration shouldn't exceed 60. We are at what? This is why you have to go on. See, when breezometer was in effect, all you needed to do was go on one site because it literally showed you the exact truth. Because what breezometer did, it took wherever they're getting their air quality index from, it took all of this information and compiled it into one, and it gave us it took the readings and it calculated everything and gave us the accurate numbers. I promise you. Breezometer was the coldest thing out there. It was created by Israelis. Google bought it in 2022, September 2022, and then they shut it down intentionally, I believe that was a government call. They intentionally shut it down December the 22nd of 2024 because they did not want you to see the nitrogen dioxide for this Arctic fridge. Peep the key words that they were using. Let's go to it. Let's go to it. Some of the words that they were using 4 days ago. Frigid, start to Friday in Chicago. Chicago firefighters battle blaze in frigid temperatures. That word frigid, because you can use nitrogen to make it cold. They're literally doing a science project in the air using nitrogen to make it cold. They're literally using the cell towers to make it cold. The satellites will make it cold. These key words, Arctic, frigid, those are the key words. That's when I really started paying attention. I want to pull up the Facebook video, but the shit started freezing up on here. But let me just try it just in case. Let me just see if I can pull it up. All right, so it has to pull. All right, if I'm not mistaken, this was the video here. And see, this was on December the 21st, December 22nd. This was the last recording of this site that I got. And this is when NO2 shot up. And I've never seen it shoot up this high before. We were getting bad air pollution all last year. Like, I think maybe almost 2 weeks out of the year in separate days, split up throughout 2024, where we didn't really get air pollution. But almost every day last year, we got air pollution to the point where the exposure in everybody's area, we're saying you are at risk for cardiovascular diseases, things like heart attacks, strokes, respiratory infections, and things of that nature. When this cranked up, this was on that day when that shit happened. So enough of that. Let's get back to all right. So now what we're going to go to next is what's in the clouds. The snow that we have been having is man-made. It is fake. It is man-made and it is fake. So we're going to go to that next. All right. So the process that we're dealing with in making it rain now, our ancestors, we already been knowing how to make it rain since the beginning of times. If you read Genesis 1, God gave us control of the air, the earth, the animals. We're able to do what we please down here as long as we don't hurt nobody, right? Nothing new, but it's new to us. It's called the Wegener Bergeron Fenderson process or cold rain process, right? It's a process of ice crystal growth that occurs in mixed phase clouds containing mixture of supercooled water and ice in regions where ambient vapor pressure falls between vapor pressure over water and lower saturation vapor pressure over ice. It is saturated environment for liquid water, but a supersaturated environment for ice, resulting in rapid evaporation of liquid water and rapid ice crystal growth throughout vapor deposition. If the number of density of ice is small compared to liquid water, those crystals can grow. Blah 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 blah. I didn't really want to read that shit, but it is what it is. Let's get to the nuts and bolts of this. So again, a lot of things we're dealing with was created by German. Here's another German scientist in 1911 while studying hoarfrost formation. He theorized that if this process happened in the clouds, the ice crystal growth attracted some attention, it would take another 10 years before this application is to the precipitation would be recognized. Our ancestors was already doing that by burning certain wood that released these certain chemicals in the teepees so that smoke can go into the stratosphere and it will cause a change in precipitation, making it rain. They would do, as you will see on the cartoons, they would do the rain dances because that was their frequencies when they were making the noise. That frequencies was helping it was based for that smoke for the rain to form and come. Okay. We already knew the process. We didn't know all this, they're putting the words to the science of it, but our people already knew the process of how to get this done. This is literally nothing new. All right. So the condition, so we're going to go to cloud condensation nuclei. Let me just make sure I'm not missing nothing here. Cloud condensation nuclei, also known as cloud seeds, are small particles, typically 2 100 size cloud droplets. They are unique subsequent aerosols in the atmosphere in which water vapor condenses. This can affect radiative properties of the clouds and overall atmosphere. Water vapor requires non-gaseous surface to make a transmission up to a liquid. This process is called condensation. They're tiny solid water vapor. Let's get down to the nuts and bolts of this shit. Used in cloud seeding, which tries to encourage rainfall by seeding the air with condensation nuclei. It has further been suggested that creating such nuclei would be used for marine cloud brightening, a climate engineering technique. So this is just showing how we're able to control certain weathers, right? There are many type of acids, particulates. All right, now we're getting into the nuts and bolts of this shit. Here we go. There are many different type of atmospheric particulates that can act as a cloud condensation nuclei. The particles may be composed of dust or clay or soot, right? That's the hydrocarbons. That's soot is considered hazardous substance, carcinogen properties, most broadly termed used a particulate matter produced by this process of including black carbon. Let's go take a look real quick. Black carbon and residual pyrosyl fuel particles such as coal and cyanosphere, charwood, petroleum coke, classified as chokes and char, and can include pyoxylic, aromatic hydrocarbons, and heavy metals like mercury. God damn. Really, 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 really harmful to humans. And then you start seeing that soot is coming out of there, and then you start reading up what the soot is and heavy metal like barium, um, aluminum, ammonium, which is also a part of aluminum. Um, you have sulfur. Just come on, man. Come on. You just go through this and start reading that stuff yourself to learn about it. It's gonna be different suit that's in airplanes or the aircraft. Again, I am not against flying. I would jump. I'm just breaking this down to show, hey, stop lying to me. Stop trying to pacify me with uh uh your perception for the illusion that you want to make me think that the stuff that we're seeing, the contrails we're seeing, is to us. And when you're creating it, and we're seeing that you're seeding the clouds, and you're literally making it rain. Okay. So now we just kind of get an understanding of what the cloud condensation nuclei is and the cloud seeding effect. We can get into, let's see, cloud seeding. Now you can see here with the cloud seeding, this is what it is. Cloud seeding can be done by ground generators or planes. This is your ground generators. You would see that you would actually see this in the distance. I've seen it in the south and I've seen it in the west, where it actually generated this big, huge, puffy cloud. And 45 minutes later, I was in Melrose Park. 45 minutes later, this big, huge, puffy cloud was in Melrose Park that came from some south suburban country, whatever, Euro country or whatever. And then it started raining. Okay. That's your cloud seeding. We're going to go what's in the cloud seeding, because you must know this. Cloud seeding is a type of weather modification that aims to change the amount or type of precipitation. I am not really against weather modification. If it can be done safely without adding the bacteria, then I'm for it sometimes. Not all the time. Because cloud seeding can produce acid rain. You should not be outside in the rain because it's acid. It will cause your skin to have outbreaks. You can possibly get a respiratory or a sinus infection. Okay? Because you're dealing with chemicals, and you're dealing with, sometimes it can be bacteria in there, if not all the times. It depends on who's making it. Okay, so cloud seeding is substance into the air that serves as cloud condensation or ice nuclei. Common agents, these are just the common main agents, include silver iodide. Silver iodide is not good, okay, in a large amount that we're getting in order for it to make it rain. Potassium iodide in dry ice. Well, what is dry ice? See, they just put down, oh, it's dry ice. With hygroscopic materials like table salt, which probably include aluminum, gaining popularity due to their ability to attract moisture. Techniques vary from static seeding, and then we also have what they call is the sun blocking technology that uses aluminum to reflect the sunlight back out into space. That is also toxic to us because it also creates a reflection of the UV rays, which now basically is artificial. And now you're getting artificial sunlight. And this is why on some days when it's hazy outside, or when the clouds is out there and the sun is shining through the clouds, the sun is looking extra freaking bright because it's bouncing, it's creating a mirror effect off the aerosols that they're using in the sky, and it's making the sun brighter, creating an artificial LED lighting that is also creating a pulsation that the eyes can't see because the particles are constantly moving. Just like the LED light in your home is creating a pulsation that's going so fast, but your brain is picking it up. The inner brain is picking up. It's just that your eyes is not computing the flickering that's coming from the LED lights in your home. Okay. Methods of dispersion include aircraft, ground-based generators, and with newer approaches involving drones delivering infrared laser pulses aimed at inducing particle form. So this is the lasers. They have lasers that can also induce particle formation and make it rain. We are dealing with technology on another level, folks. Mean with this laser, this is the laser that people are talking about allegedly with the FIRES over in LA, in Maui, because those things were all electrical. The reason they did not want those people to get back on their property to start cleaning things out or cleaning things up is because that place is highly electrical, and it is very dangerous. And when I mean electrical, I mean radiation. It was very dangerous for them to go into that area, so they can't go into that area until the readings are safe. Because those were electrical fires. The smart meters were exploding, as to what some were saying. Allegedly. I'm not saying that that's the truth. I'm just saying allegedly. People were saying the smart meters were exploding. And if you notice, there was a blue van that did not burn through the whole entire destruction. It was left untouched. So things that were blue, that had a blue roof, things that were blue were left untouched. Again, this happened in Maui. They're literally showing us, but it's in bits and pieces. We just have to come together and start putting this information together. So please, I'm 2 hours in on this video. I still haven't gotten to show you everything these people have been doing. It is a lot of information, a lot. So we have weather modification techniques. Those are our weather modification techniques. But Biden got up there and said, oh, we're not controlling the weather. That is ridiculous. But remember, this man is really going into the early stages of dementia. We literally had a president with dementia in there, and he was not running the presidency. There was a multitude of people that was getting things done for their agenda and benefit. He was not running that seat. That was the most scariest moment in life. Because if the Democrats would have won again, Kamala would not have been running that seat. She was not prepared for such a task as being a president. This was way bigger than what she can handle. And they threw her in the pit of fire. I felt bad for her, even though I did not like her as a candidate in 2020 for president. I did not like her. I did not like her. I did not like any of the Democratic candidates. I was definitely always voting Democrat. Corey was about the only one that was halfway decent. The rest of them, I never liked Biden. Never. And I don't want to make this political. I knew Trump was going to win again because Trump was already promised this seat before he was even born. This again, we got to stop looking at what they're saying because it is a game being played. So pay attention to the small clues and things that man say, because he's going to tell you. You just got to listen good. And when he say those things, this is fake news and the climate change scam. It's really a scam because they're using the climate change thing in the things that are in the climate change is affecting the human body, which is making people sick on the daily basis. People are going to the hospital, and guess what's happening in the hospital? They're telling you to you think it's time to take this jab? This is exactly what they're doing. And then they're sitting up here putting different labels on the same symptoms that you are getting, the same illnesses that we're getting right now today. It's already seen it on the Plume Labs, and we have a forecast right here on the Plume Labs, right here. We have a forecast right here showing you what's going to happen tomorrow in the morning, a.m. This thing is going to explode. And these right here are going to go up. 10, all this is going to go up. Okay. Cloud seeding. So here's the dry ice, what I wanted to see. Dry ice means a solid form of carbon dioxide. Yeah, whatever. Commonly used for temporary refrigeration, such as CO2, does not have a liquid state. A normal atmospheric pressure and sublimes directly from the solid state of gas state. Sublimation is a transition of substance directly from solid to the gas state without passing through the liquid. Okay, all right. So I want to know what that is. But its primary as a cooling agent, right? So we know that dry ice is being used for this Arctic blast. It is also a cooling agent, but it's also used in fog machines in at theater for dramatic effects. There, they also can use it fog machines on ships right off the lake, because that's the best way you can create a fog is off the lake, and then you can guide it into the city uh, uh, by electrical charges. This extreme cold dry ice sublines at 149K, which is negative 109 Fahrenheit at Earth atmospheric pressure. This extreme cold makes solid dangerous to handle without protection from false bright injury. While generally not toxic, but outgassing from it can cause hypercapnia, abnormally elevated carbon dioxide levels in the blood due to buildup of confined locations. Dry ice is a solid form of carbon dioxide, a molecule consisting of a single carbon. Dry ice is colorless, odorless. No, man. No. Come on. Give me 1 second here. Let me kind of scan this because it's just saying. Dry ice is easily manufactured. All right, here we go. Dry ice is easily manufactured. Its common industrial method of manufacturing dry ice starts with the gas having high concentration of carbon dioxide. Such gases can be a byproduct of other processes, such as producing ammonia from nitrogen and nitric gases or refinery activities in large-scale fermentation. Second, carbon dioxide rich gas is pressurized and refrigerated until it liquefies. Next, the pressure is reduced when it occurs. Some liquid carbon dioxide vaporizes, causing a rapid lowering temperature of remaining liquid. As a result, the extreme cold causes liquid to solidify in the snow into a snow-like consistency. Finally, the snow-like solid carbon dioxide is compressed into small pellets in large blocks of dry ice. Nigga, what the fuck? I'm not gonna play with y'all, man. What's in dry ice? What's in dry ice? It says carbon dioxide. What are the ingredients in dry ice? Because they said creating an ammonia and nitrogen dioxide effect. So dry ice. I'm just reading through this real. Hmm. All right, I guess so. I'm not pulling up anything else. Hmm. Okay. So no, I guess it is just CO2. All right. Let me just double check. Let me go through. Let me just go through a few more here. All right. So yeah, I'm just gonna go off of what they just said right there. And we're gonna go back. We just kind of take a look. Let me just double read. Such gases can be a byproduct. What the fuck is byproduct? Byproduct, the secondary product derived from a production process, manufacturing process, or chemical reaction. It is not the primary product or service of being produced. Okay. Such as producing ammonia from nitrogen in natural gases. Dry ice is a common method. Such gases can be a product of another process, such as producing ammonia from. Okay. Oh, so they use the gases to produce things like ammonia from nitrogen and natural gases. Can nitrogen make dry ice? This is how I do my research. No, nitrogen itself does not make dry ice. Dry ice is a solid form of carbon, not nitrogen, both. Liquid nitrogen is often confused with dry ice due to its extreme cold temperature and smoke or fog it creates when it evaporates in the air. However, liquid nitrogen is a liquid form of gas in two and not a solid form. Like, okay, all right. So, what happens if you mix the both? So nitrogen can make it cold. All right. That's some science. I'm gonna have to go down and take a look at. I'm not gonna go over right now. I'm definitely gonna take a look at that and see. I'll probably even go through this video too here. Let me see. No, 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 no. Go back. Go back. This one. All right. I know it's going slow. I know it's going slow right now. I see it. It's speeds up. Man, I see it freezing up bad. I actually see it's freezing up pretty bad. So I'm gonna stop that because I'm not like I got a lot of stuff on this computer. I'm gonna have to clean it up for my next slide. That way I'm not using so much memory. Let me turn this off. That shit fucking me up. I'll go over that a little later. Probably post that video on my page. But let's get to what's in these clouds and the bacteria that's in us, what's affecting us. All right. It is called. I'm gonna go here. Oh, really? I'm not getting it. All right, let's go here. Which one is this? That is the syringe. Hey, I want the other Pseudomonas. So let's go to Pseudomonas. This Pseudomonas. So, all right. Pseudomonas. What is it? Pseudomonas is a negative, gram-negative, aerobic, uh, facultative, facultatively, facultatively anaerobic rod-shaped bacterium that can cause disease in plants and animals, including humans. A species considerable medical importance. Um, P, which is Pseudomonas uh, aeruginosa is a multi-drug resistant pathogen recognized for its ubiquity, its intrinsically advanced antibiotic resistant mechanism, and is associated with serious illnesses. Understand what they just said to you because this is highly important to understand what's going on and why. This all leads into everything I just talked about because this is one of the most important things. And if you start looking at everything in the media and everything we went through, and since even before 2020, this has already been going on. 2020 is when they start giving us the spell and bringing it to our attention, but putting us under a spell at the same time. Okay. So again, P. aeruginosa is a multi-drug resistant pathogen recognized for its ubiquity in intrinsically advanced antibiotic resistant mechanism and it is associated with serious illnesses, hospital acquired infections such as ventilator associated pneumonia. What was happening in 2020? What was happening? People were being put on the ventilators for pneumonia, sepsis. Then they would say there's a rise in sepsis. There's a rise in syphilis. Okay. This pseudomonas is able to selectively inhibit various antibiotics from penetrating its outer membrane and has high resistance to several antibiotics. According to the World Organization, this pseudomonas greatest threats to human in terms of antibiotic resistance. Let me just call this pseudomonas by its name. It is called aeruginosa. I'm sorry, aeruginosa. Aeruginosa. Okay, aeruginosa. I'm going with it. That's what the name I made up for it. That's what it's going to be. Aeruginosa. Pretty easy. All right. The organism is considered opportunistic insofar a serious infection often occurs during the existing diseases or conditions. This is why I wear a mask. This is why I put on this gas mask that I have. I don't have my camera on. It is off. I wish I could put it on. I don't know how to change it on here, but it's off right now. And man, I got a mask. Bump the BS. This is exactly why I put it on because they use these particular bacterias back in the 1950s and even beyond 1950. They've been using this and studying us at the same time, seeing what it actually does. This is how they know what it does. It's no secret. This is why they know exactly where COVID come from. This is why they know where Omicron, the Delta, the Alpha, the Beta, the Fornax, the all the variants they name, whatever they want to call it, the M.1, the H1N1, the blah blah blah, all this BS they want to call it. Those are just spells, and those are just codes for their people to okay, you need to do this. Okay, this is what's happening. This is what's in the air. Only certain people know these codes. They're codes for them and they're spells for us. Okay, it's codes for them to operate. It's spells for us to keep being in the unknown. So what I'm trying to do is bring you out of the unknown and into reality so you will see what's going on. Right? So I'm just showing you. If so far serious infections occur during existing diseases or conditions, most notably cystic fibrosis and traumatic burns. Okay, it generally affects the immunocompromised, but can also infect the immunocomponent. All right, what's the immunocompromised? It is a state in which the immune system ability to fight infection diseases in cancer or compromise the entirely absent. In most cases are required as secondary due to intrinsic factors affect patient's immune system. So basically what it'll do, it'll start attacking or it'll affect your white blood cells that is supposed to um, kill off these pathogens. It'll cause a confusion where it's not killing off this particular bacteria. It'll cause it because once it hits the system, it mutates, right? I might not read it in here, but this is the mutation that they speak of when they say, oh, it's mutated. All right. It is a mutating bacteria. This is not just the only one, though. There's multiple ones. This is not the only one. How does that do that? That shit got big as hell. That's wrong. All right. So for follicularis, Hot tub folliculitis called pseudomonas folliculitis. Folliculitis is a common type of folliculitis flaming around the skin. Okay, all right. Treatment of infections can be difficult due to its natural resistance to antibiotics. When more advanced antibiotic drug regimens are needed, adverse effects may result. Let me blow this up for you some. It is a citrate catalyst and oxidase positive. It is found in soil, water, skin flora, and most human-made environments throughout the world. In most human-made environments throughout the world. So understand that it's human-made environments. It has a flac a flag. I'm sorry, a faculous a fac a facultative a facultative anaerobe. The aruginosus thrives in diverse habits. The aruginosus thrives in diverse habits. It uses a wide range of organic material for food in animals, and its versatility enables the organisms to infect damaged tissues. So this is if you're already damaged in your tissues. Now, mind you, you're around a lot of radiation because you're around your cell phone, and the cell phone damages tissues first, right? So now it's allowing things to get through the skin, and it's allowing your wherever you're damaged in the body, if you're damaged in your lung, in your brains, in your heart, in your kidneys, this is where it's going to go to cause more damage. This is what it's saying. In those with reduced immunity, this is where it's going to attack first. In your liver, your intestines, this is where it goes. The symptoms of such infections are generalized inflammation and sepsis. This is dealing with your liver when you're dealing with sepsis. If such colonization occurs in critical body organs such as lungs, the urinary tract, because you get rid of bacteria by urinating most of the bacteria out and defecating it. This is how you're getting rid of it. And if it gets caught in that urinary tract, it turns into a urinary tract infection. But if you have your cell phone in your pocket, your tissues in your urinary tract is damage. In your bladder, it's damage. So in your kidneys, the result can be fatal. Because it thrives in moist surfaces, this bacteria is also found on in medical equipment, including catheters, causing cross infections in hospitals and clinics. It is also able to decompose hydrocarbons and has been used to break. Okay, the aruginosa virulent. Virulence is a pathogens or cause damage to a host. Okay, so that's your virus. That's your viral load. It's not extremely virulent in comparison with other major species of pathogenic bacteria, such as gram Staphylococcus aureus and streptococcus pyogenesis. That's your strep throat, and then that's your staph infections on the skin. All right. All right, we can get to that later. All right, so I want to get to where's this shit at in the clouds. I'm gonna actually have to read through this so I can understand the areas that it is affecting and what herbs is going to be needed to break this bacteria down and get it off of that area. Okay. Okay, hold on. So here we go. I needed this. Cellular cooperation. The aeruginosa relies on iron as a nutrient source to grow. Oh, shit. However, iron is not easily accessible because it's commonly found in the environment. Iron is usually found in largely insoluble ferric form. Furthermore, excessively high levels of iron can be toxic to aha. High levels of iron can be toxic to the aruginosa. To overcome this and regulate power intake of iron, the aeruginosa uses cytospores, which are secreted molecules that bind and transport iron. These iron cytospore complexes, however, are not specific. The bacterium that produces cytospores, cooperate. I'll start back when the sign goes off. All right. Are commonly referred to as cooperators, members that produce little to no cytospores referred to as cheaters. The research shows when cooperators cheaters are grown together, cooperators decrease in fitness and blah blah blah. The magnitude of the fitness increases the iron limitation. With this increase in fitness, okay. With increasing fitness, the cheaters can out complete the competitor the cooperators. This leads to an overall decrease in fitness of the group and like fish cytospores, organization, blah blah blah. Enzymes. Yeah, I'm gonna have to read through this so I can get an understanding. I did start tonic. I do have some iron tonic. Um, but I'm gonna read through this to kind of get an understanding of how this can be gotten rid of, and and I'll read through this later. And this I'll bring this up in another video because this one here is pretty huge. We need to get an understanding of this and how we can get it out of the body. So this is where I need to read this up because it is definitely found antibiotics that may have activity against the aeruginosa include these here. So I can definitely find this in some of the herbs. All right, so let me pull up the bacteria in clouds. All right, so bacteria can be found in clouds, including man-made clouds. Bacteria can be transported into the atmosphere by air currents and heat from the soil, and they can float into the troposphere and the stratosphere, which is that's throwing you off. So let's cut this bullshit right there, right? We're gonna cut that one. Can be lifted in the air. Now, bacteria can be lifted into the air. This is true after a rainstorm and after a snowstorm. When the sun comes out, it can evaporate the snow and lift the bacteria, what you won't see, back into the air. Okay. So that's where this process comes in. Okay. So some bacteria like Pseudomonas syringae have proteins in their cell surface that can nucleate the formation of ice. This process can trigger rain and snow. So this is one of the bacteria that they use to create snow and rain. This is why it's acid rain. This is why it's important not to touch the snow. I think this has been going on for a long time. I don't know, but I know right now, don't touch that snow. Don't touch that snow. Don't touch that snow. Carbon and nitrogen cycles. Some scientists suspect that bacteria could contribute to the Earth's carbon and nitrogen cycles, whatever. All right, so that was just one of the bacterias. It's not explaining the other bacterias. It would show. No, you're not giving me. They're not giving us the rest of the bacteria. Hold on. Let me just take that out. Come on. Give me the other bacteria. Where are they? Here we go. 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 Right here. What are the bacteria found in clouds? Well, here's 5 more bacteria found in clouds. Staphylococcus found more abundant in clouds compared to clear situations. And Cyanobacteria found in more abundant clouds. Cochran in Hydrobacteria, in Bacillus, found in less abundance in clouds compared to clear situation. So I haven't went into the process to figure out which clouds has it, where it comes from, why, what it does to the human body. I know they used one of this Bacillus back in a while back in 1950. They used the Serratus marcescens, and they used Bacillus something in the fog cloud. So when you see that fog cloud, man, listen. 1950 Operation Sea Spray is what it's called. This, I think the Smith loading. Okay, here it is, right here. They use Serratus marcescens and Bacillus globigity. It's a species of pigmented black bacteria. Is a type strain is NRRL RS213 B atrophaeus strands have been used extensively in biomedicine as indicator strands for heat and chemical-based decontamination regimens. Most strands are derived from. All right, whatever. I'm not gonna go see what it does because it literally tells you here, starting September the 20th and continuing to September 27th in 1950, they released 2 types of bacteria from a ship off the shore of San Francisco. Based on the results from monitoring equipment at 43 locations from around the city, the armies determined that San Francisco had received enough doses of nearly all of the city's 800 residents to inhale at least 5,000 of the particles. At least 5,000 of the particles in between that particular time frame. So they already know the calculations of every single aerosol and over the period of time on how long the doses are every day. Okay. On October the 11th in 1950, you have to understand that bacteria takes a little time to move to get through the body and start transforming and mutating and causing people to have serious infections. Okay. 11 residents checked into Stanford Hospital. This is not including the other hospitals around San Francisco. This is just one with the very rare serious urinary tract infection, which a serious urinary tract infection could be called syphilis. Okay. All right. Although 10 recovered, Edward J. Nevin, who had surgery, died 3 weeks later from a heart valve infection. It got into his heart. The urinary tract outbreak was so unusual that Stanford doctors wrote it up for a medical journal. We got to find that journal, okay? None of the other hospitals in the city reported similar spikes in cases, and all 11 victims had urinary tract infections following the medical procedures, suggesting it was inside the hospital. Cases of pneumonia in San Francisco also increased after the serrations to Marcin was released, uh, though casual though a causal relation has not been conclusively established. The bacterium was also combined with phenol in an anthrax stimulant and sprayed across Dorset by the U.S. and U.K. military scientists as a part of the Dice trials that ran from 1971 to 1975. So these people were literally putting phenol. Bro, these people are terrorists. They're terrorists. They are terrorists. There was no evidence that the Army had alerted the health authorities before it blanketed responsible for the heart valve infections around the same time, as well as serious infections seen among intravenous users in the 1960s and 70s. So these articles are not putting the truth out there. So there were more heart valve infections that happened even after they put it out there in the air in the 1950s, and they were still doing it through the 60s in the 70s. Valve infections that are happening right now today. We are being set up, folks, and what they're doing is they're putting a spell on our brains, calling it this, calling it that, making you think that you're having this unknown, mysterious type of virus that's coming out of the blue, when it's literally they are using bioweapons against the American people. We are in a silent war. We are in a biological warfare, and we are not told about it. This is war. Please understand that. The news anchor from CNN that crashed out, flipped his wig, and he said on TikTok, I got that on my Instagram saved somewhere. And the man said, kill them all, and all this. That man knew some people. He knew what was going on, and he is not messing around. That guy's gonna crash out. I'm telling you, because what they did in California, he knows something about it, and that man is going to crash out. If not, he might just get quiet. All right. So I'm not gonna say the other word because I wanted to curse, but I'm not gonna say that word because I don't want to be cursing on my program. I have to keep it. I have to keep it 100, guys. All right. All right. That was the Operation Sea Spray. We seen the dice trials. There was a couple of more operations that was done. We're not going to go through that. This is what's going on with our sickness right now. This is what happened to those chickens in the cockadoodle farm. This is what happened here. First known outbreak of bird flu. Bird flu is just another way of saying birds, these big birds, I call them big birds. All right. They're big birds with the jets on them, and they're big birds with the jets on them, and they flew the big birds with the jets on them, and they flew the chemicals in over the neighborhoods, causing it to have a massive snowstorm and a cold, and then the radiation pulses, the ozone, the nitrogen dioxide, the radiation pulses that is creating the atmosphere is what's creating the big bird flu in our particular area that killed these birds. So just 1 week ago of this event, right? This was around January the 13th. Everything seemed normal in the hen house. They had 3,000 hens, and now none of them are left. The owner noticed that 30 of them died on that Monday. Uh, but as but that happened as temperatures dropped aggressively in the area, and they thought that it was just the environmental. It was right when the temperature started changing, and let me tell you, the effect of nitrogen dioxide on birds, they it suffocates them, the cells. It takes the oxygen out the cells. So when the rest of the 30 hens got sick and died as well, the vet and the USDA confirmed it was bird flu. So what were they? What? So they named these tests, and I bet you these tests test for like nitrogen dioxide and all other toxins in the air, and that's how they get it to say. And they just call it something for the bird flu. I definitely hit them up. I'll probably hit them up again with this video to let them know, hey, you weren't getting that from no what's the name. All right, so what we're gonna look at, uh, what does NO2 do to chickens? So you can see, and you're going to see an old study on this. Let's see, where was it at? Is it this one? I think it's the Josh, the genetic influence on nitric oxide production. Studies were carried out to assess the nitric oxide production, VBL, and resistance to Emery infections, treatment and resistance. Chickens were also more responsive to reduction of NO2 levels. I think this might be it. Absolutely not it. This is not it. Mm, where was it? Where are you? Um, Let me see if I can pull up my drive. Uh, White blood cells, pathogenic. That's not it. Damn, I didn't pull up the chicken stuff. Um, this is not it. This is definitely not it. All right, so I gotta get it. Give me one moment here. I can look through my other phone and get it real quick. Let me just see. Let me just see. I'll do that. All right, I'll do it this way. It is night trait in chickens. Experiment. I should have did experiment. Is this it? Not it. Totally not it. Come on, man. All right, let me just do this. Send that to myself. Found a strange restriction in the mountain in AC. All right, so let me get it. This might slow up my computer a little bit. In one moment. I'm gonna do this one last thing, and then we're pretty much. I'm gonna rest my case after that. I really don't want to open preview. I don't want to slow my computer up. Here we go. All right, perfect. Let me just shut down preview real quick because I don't want to. Oh, this thing opened up by itself. All right, just have to do some force quitting, and let me just get rid of that. Damn, we're heading on 3 hours right now. All right. Yeah, there's a lot more information, to be honest with you. Just putting this all together though. So the night rate or night or night right, the night rate and night right toxicity or poison has been subjected to extensive studies over the years. All right. I wanted to have this one pulled up for you guys, but I didn't. And please forgive me on that one. All right, so what we want to see, the growth, depression, and mortality occurred when 400 ppm NO2, which is nitrogen dioxide, was added, even though the basal diet contained 2% alfalfa meal. The addition of natsin uh, uh, appeared to have reduced the toxicity of the high levels of nitrite in nitrate in nitrite, but the mortality was even high, even with the natsin additions. Okay, so this is speaking of NO2. This is just showing you how this stuff was already tested a long time ago. So this is nothing new that is happening to these birds falling out of the sky, getting the dosage of this toxic air pollution of NO2. It does have the minus over it, but this is still, once you get into all the oxygen and mix into the other aerosols, it's you can just say it's nitrogen dioxide as well. Okay, so they're showing you exactly what it takes. It's just the thing with nitrogen dioxide, and you have radiation now, because it's the radiation is creating a nitric oxide or a nitrogen oxide, or nitrate oxide. It said, um, in nitrogen dioxide can is like a byproduct of a corona discharge, which we read that earlier. So those particular chicken in that chicken coop, in my opinion, allegedly was targeted, in my opinion. Okay. So now we're gonna go to, it might be a remedy, okay? It might be a remedy, okay? Because it says here, group 6, which received supplement vitamin A, improved body weights and feed efficiencies to normal levels, right? The reverse method was utilized for the experiment, showing it was fixed level NO3 used with a variety of levels, growth rates to feed better. However, mortality rate was high and weight gains reduced to, it indicates, okay, the basal diet, although containing 1% alfalfa, was slightly deficient in vitamin A, and the decision night rate only did not decrease body weight. Again, supplementing a vitamin A, even with NO2 present, improved growth and efficiency and to the normal range. So it might be vitamin A, might be a vitamin A now that can help us with some alfalfa. I don't think alfalfa has vitamin A in it. Might be a really good source for us. Vitamin A may be a help for us. So this is something that I'm actually trying right now, but I need to learn of herbs that is very high in vitamin A, because I want to use the herbs for that instead of some over the counter vitamin A. And that's pretty much where I'm at. So right now, the solutions that I use, I have a gas mask, I have a painter's P95 mask, and I have gargles. I If I'm in my van, I can use the gargles once the eyes start feeling a little heavy. I'm noticing that helps with gases or potential gases, or it has UV protection on the glasses. I don't really like to use those glasses to block UV radiation from the sun, because I want the UV radiation in my eyes, in my skin from the sun. I want that to happen because that helps cure up things as well. So I usually take the goggles off when I'm facing towards the sun. But when I start feeling the heaviness in my eyes, I put the glasses on. And this has been happening over the past 5 to 6 days. I've noticed a big change to where I'm no longer affected by the frequencies or the creation of some of these gases that are in the air that may be blowing through my vent in the car. It literally blocks that. Your eyes is connected to everything in your body, including your main frame, which is your brain. So when you have certain gases hitting your eyes, you are going to feel the effects of it way more faster than it just hitting the lungs, and getting into the bloodstream may take a little time. But once it hit the eyes, it can cause you to feel fatigue. I mean, very strongly fatigued, dizzy. You can feel dizzy. You can just feel like you have brain fog. All types of shit can go on. It can start making your nose run. It starts attacking your mucous membrane, causing your nose to run profusely. Um, I was finding myself blowing my nose and little red dots will come out, and I'm knowing it's not blood because I'll stick the tissue or a Q-tip behind there and I don't get any blood on the soft tissues that's up there. You do not rub or twist the tissues up there in your nose because you will cause irritation and you will cause bleeding in that soft tissue area up there. So do not stick tissue up your nose at all when your nose is running and you can't stop it from running. Do not stick tissue up your nose. Just don't do it. Go blow your nose. If you can't get the mucus out of the nose, this is what I was going through because I don't take any medication to stop it or to suppress any symptoms. I will take some herbs to kind of lower the infection. But if you have been burned by nitrogen dioxide, there is no herbs that can stop the inflammation from coming because the nitric acid that it turned into and burns you, you have to let that burn heal. And that's where the inflammation is coming from. It has burned the mucous membrane and it's going to keep. That's when we hit when the Arctic blast first started on that Tuesday going into Wednesday. Everybody, damn it, everybody woke up with a clogged nose. And what happened was your nose swelled up on purpose to protect you from the toxins in the air, and the inflammation came in to save it from it burning the tissues in there in the mucous membrane any further. But because the air was so toxic, the mucus it got so thick in there because it has to stay there to protect your brain, your mucous membrane. That was a protection method. And when you're taking suppressants to stop it, now you're letting the chemicals constantly hit your brain, which is also letting the bacteria into your head, letting the bacteria into your lungs. And this is why people keep getting sick over and over and over again. And it gets worse every single time. You notice you're getting a cold or you're getting some type of flu-like symptoms or your nose is burning or running every single month, every 2 weeks, sometimes every week, sometimes once out of a day, then it comes back next week, or sometimes it just stay for a long period of time. You're hearing people, man, I had a cold, I had to lay down for 2 weeks straight. I couldn't get up, I couldn't move. It was all in my tissues. You want to know why that's happening? Because they're sleeping right by their cell phone, by the 5G, because most people have 5G. I have a 5G phone. I only have one. The other two are 4G. I refuse to upgrade those iPhones. And I don't like this 5G phone at all. It's on right now. That's the one I'm listening to the YouTube on to make sure everything's straight. But it's on right now. But let me tell you, if I keep this 5G phone on at night, or if I keep it on me around me all day, I have literally felt my mood change to where I don't want to do shit. I'll be like, man, I don't want to do nothing, man. I don't want to do that. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to call. I probably done told somebody I was gonna do something. I just don't want to do it because you're around this stuff that literally it affects your emotions, and it pulls out the negative type of emotions out of you because it's a very low frequency that disrupts your cells. It disrupts your DNA. It takes the oxygen out of your cells. Your cells is craving for oxygen. Your cells is begging for help to stop these free radicals of all the toxins that you just allow come into my body all day. Is your body is begging for this, so it literally sends you into a shock state. Now you have an anxiety because you don't know what's going on, or you're having panic attacks because you're losing oxygen, and your body electrical system is just going haywire. You're not feeding the proper electricity and energy to the cells, and your body just going haywire. You're in that blue light. The blue light is literally tearing your brain up as we're looking at this phone. We're looking at the computers with the blue light. We're around all this high frequency all day, and the chemicals and toxins that we just breathe into the air, all the bacteria we just breathe in, we're helping it grow with all the frequency, putting the phones into our pockets, helping it grow through our intestines, helping it grow, helping the E. coli grow in our intestines, mixing with these other bacteria, and disrupting the tissues in the body, causing the bacteria to get trapped in those tissues. Now we got cysts. Now we having prostate cancer growing. You see how all of it, you see how I haven't stopped and how all this shit keeps going? It's getting into the lungs even more and more, causing more inflammation, causing more fluids to build up. Now you're dealing with pneumonia. Now you're having cancer building up in the lungs, having cancer building up in the kidneys, because now the bacteria is stuck in the kidneys. Why? Because you're eating a lot of starch, you're eating a lot of greasy foods, a lot of meats that's just not moving your system. Your system is slow and sluggish. Now your lymphatic system is not able to properly move these toxins out of the body. So now the body's just building up, you're heating up. So guess what happens? When everything comes to a head, but bam, your body heats up, you get weak, your tissues get weak, you got all these heavy metals in your body, you're laying next to your cell phone. That has also decreased and diminished your electromagnetic field. It is causing your cells to be very erratic. It is causing free radicals to run through your body. Now you're sitting there stuck. You're so sick. You're so weak to move. You can't move. And the kryptonite is sitting right next to your goddamn bed. It is called your cell phone. That might even be in your bedroom or next to your bedroom. You have all this technology by you, and you wonder why you cannot get over freaking cold or the flu. What the hell just happened? Why my share screen just went on? Well, we don't need it. I'm talking anyway. We wonder why these things happen. And it's happening in that order. It's so complex. It's so difficult to catch because we were taught to believe in a cold. We were taught to believe in the flu. We were taught to believe in pneumonia. We were taught to believe in diabetes. We were taught to believe in high blood pressure. We were taught to believe in all these things except cleaning out our bodies, detoxing, making sure our lymphatic system is flowing properly, making sure we're keeping our kidneys going, getting some type of exercise, whether it's 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And I'm guilty of that even right now. As I speak, I'm talking about myself because I ain't did no exercises in probably about 4 days. I ain't did no exercises. I need to do my 10, 15 minutes and get that going. I've been detoxing and fasting. I haven't really been eating anything. You know what I'm saying? I'll have my leafy green drinks. I'll do some pumpkin seeds. I'll do some walnuts here and there. I got to stay away from those because I'm not eating. I'll get into a habit of eating too many of those. And I do have protein leaks. I was told that back in 2020. So I'm just keeping that in my brain that this is why I'm having the fluid that's leaking down to my ankles. You see how all this is playing a part? The high blood pressure came in because I had it slightly. I don't have it right now because I've been fasting and I wear my compression socks because my blood wasn't regulating and pumping back up from the feet up to the body because I was getting a lot of fluid buildup. I'm not getting the best circulation through the legs because I'm full of starch. Because over 2 years, when I started back eating starch, which was in, I think, 2022, I got a hold of some fresh cooked fries and I just went crazy after that. It was fries with this meal. Now, every vegan spot I'm going to, they got fries with every meal. This is how these vegan spots are really not healthy for you. That's cooking a lot of the fast food vegan spots. And we're going to talk about one in particular that is not vegan at all, which is, I can't believe it's not meat, in Slutty Vegan. They are not vegan at all whatsoever. They use Impossible Meat and they use the Beyond Meat. Those are not, has nothing to do with vegan, has nothing to do with any plant-based. It has nothing to do with plants. That has nothing to do. There's not a source of any nutrition in the
the impossible meat or the beyond meat. And if you eat too many of it, if you eat too much of it, it will give you high blood pressure. They have to use certain additives and put certain things in there to make your body break it down, to make it get through certain things in the system, certain organs. They have to use certain things in there just for your body to break it down. Otherwise, it'll cause harm to your organs going through your body as a whole, and never really breaking down and turning into something. That product is very unsafe, and you guys have made millions of dollars now. It is time for you to create a healthy version of vegan meat. It is time for you to create a healthy version of a real vegan patty. That if you go to True Food Kitchen, they actually have a vegan patty, a house vegan patty that actually has items in there that you can understand. It has mushrooms in there, it has leafy greens in there, it has a few other things in there. You can also go to Handlebar. They have their own vegan patty. These are places that are not of our particular color, but they treat their people and people that patrons that eat at those particular places with real vegan food. So I can't believe it's not meat. And Slutty Vegan, it is time for you to change what you're feeding us. And besides, the person that don't care for you, the person that is constantly talking about, that has stated that he wanted to slow the population growth. I only said slow the population growth. I did not say depopulate. I said slow the population growth. He has invested into this. He is invested into the impossible meat, into the beyond meat, which I consider the actual lab made meat. I consider that to be lab made. That is lab made meat. It is to be thought of as being vegan. It is to be thought of as being plant based. Yeah, they can take certain things out of a plant, and add it in and do all this stuff and just try to. That's what they try to do to call it plant based. They'll take things from a plant and put it in there and say, "Oh, it's plant based," but then they have all these other additives and things like that in there that is not good for the body, and it's not good for you to eat. It tastes good as hell, though. I am not gonna lie to you. I binged on it, and it took me a while even to get into even eating it. One day I just broke down. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna try it just to see how it is. And I liked it. It was good as hell. But come around to about a year and a half later of eating that shit, high blood pressure. I'm getting headaches, all types of shit. I'm like, man, what the hell? That's when I was like, my body was like, stop eating that shit. I immediately stopped. This was in September. I immediately stopped of last year. This was in September. I just stopped. And this was even before I even knew it was high blood pressure. I kept going on and on. I'm doing certain little things. I'm drinking certain herbs and stuff like that. And then I just decided to go on a fast. And then I kept seeing YouTubes that was talking about heart attacks, high blood pressure. And then one day I just decided to listen to the video. It was with the brother, what's that brother name? It's on the tip of my tongue. It's brother Bobby Price. I started listening to him, and he was talking about the symptoms. And I'm having the symptoms right now as he's speaking. I'm like, man, when I get home, I'm checking my blood pressure. And sure enough, my blood pressure was 150 over 110. I was like, damn. This was in November. I was like, shit. No wonder why I'm waking up having these problems and stuff like that. So I go on a fast. I bring the blood pressure down a little bit. I get to eating at green bites. Now, mind you, all of our people that are serving the other vegan type stuff are serving a lot of bread and a lot of fries with it. They're not giving you a healthy option to eat with it, like some type of vegetables, some type of leafy greens, or Bureau bananas, or like a yams, or what's the other one? Um, damn, I'm forgetting the other vegetable or fruit. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's like yams, but it's not. They're not giving us that as an alternative. They're not giving us. They're just you just have these fries, this bread, and then you'll get the vegan meat in there. You'll get the she was doing the jackfruit Philly cheese. Oh man, that shit was fire. I'm not gonna lie. I promise you, I'm gonna eat that shit again when I finish fasting and really cleanse my body. I am definitely going to eat at Green Bites, because one thing I can say, she uses jackfruit and she uses mushrooms, the fried mushrooms, um for her substitutes. So she's not using the Impossible or the Beyond shit. I think she did have some of the Beyond chicken or whatever on the jerk chicken salad, but you know, if you want to eat that, that's on you. um but the other stuff she did have the seitan for the Italian beef, which that shit was fire as hell. I'm not even gonna lie. I might eat that, and I might not. I don't know if I want to get back into that seitan shit. I just don't want no fries. I don't want to do the fries no more. I do not want the fries. I do not want the fries. I do not want the fries. And I am not gonna go back to eating that shit often. You know what I'm saying? That'll be a surprise time. I might eat just a little. I'm gonna have to learn how to control my eating, because that's another problem that we do. We overeat. I overeat. I'm smashing everything on the plate all in one setting. I overeat. So I have to learn how to eat in proportions, eat a little bit, sit it to the side, allow my system to digest the shit, uh, drink a little water, come back to it later, eat a little bit, sit it to the side, come back to it a little later, eat a little bit, and then I'm done. This is the measure that I have to teach myself, because I am that person that when I see it, it's getting smashed. I ain't leaving nothing on the table. I'm smoking all that shit. Excuse my language. I'm smoking it. But I do have to change that. That's another problem with when you see fat vegans. We eat fast. We eat everything on the table. They will eat a lot of mixed nuts. They will eat a lot of starch, a lot of starchy vegetables, and their lymphatic system is bagged up. Their metabolism is slowed down. Their hormones is off. Their thyroids is off. Their kidneys is bagged up. Their intestines is still bagged up. And when they switch to veganism, they never really do a proper detoxing where they're going 60 to 90 days of really cleansing the body, of really cleansing themselves of their health issues. So when they turn vegan, they still have the same underlying conditions. And this is why vegans look fat and not really unhealthy. And I don't really want to be associated with the word vegan, because it's really not a healthy lifestyle unless you're really doing the proper nutrition and doing the really proper steps, like the singer Maya. You know, she really had to train herself to get to where she's at, and she looks freaking fantastic. You know what I'm saying? So it's steps to this. You're not gonna do this overnight. I didn't do this overnight. I went 2 years literally alkaline, eating fruits and vegetables, and then I got back into eating the freaking fries, and that shit just sent me straight back down into and I never really got rid of my underlying condition, because I never went through I went through a 30-day detox. But no, I need a longer detox. I need 90 days or more. I need to really cleanse all the toxins, all the MMR immunization shots, the chicken pox that's still in me. All this stuff needs to come out of my body. And please understand the chicken pox. And I'm gonna do that in another section. The chicken pox is just a fourth or third strand of the herpes vertidae family. and I call it smallpox. It's a part of the smallpox. The experiment of smallpox never stopped happening. It just got more complex. They changed the names of it, just like they're changing the names of it now. Okay, so we got to just go back to what they said it was originally, see what it did to the human body before, and understand it's doing the same thing now. Okay, I'm pretty much done here. I don't have anything else to really say with this subject. We're over 3 hours. We had 3 hours and 26 minutes. I definitely appreciate everybody that came through. I am going to do another live next week, Monday, and we're going to go over the bacterias, what it does to the human body, what it's doing to the cell, and then we may even go through the herpes vertidae family, and I'm going to show you how all of that stuff in the herpes vertidae family is dealing with parasitic bacteria and also causing your cells in your body to turn parasitic against you and growing into parasites as well. A little something that I did learn from Brother Yaki Awaken. Um, yeah, we just gonna keep this shit going. All right, peace, love, and gratitude to y'all. Stay aware. Let's get to it. Only we can save us. Only we can save us. Only we can save us. By sharing this information, share this video, share this information with others. You can copy it, break it down into sections, and yeah, let's learn on regimens to try to heal ourselves from these situations. To heal from an NO2 burn, you're going to need lots of oxygen, and just time. I would do plantain leaf for faster healing. All right, love and gratitude.